In this video, we're going to be diving into biochemistry, the foundation of life itself. We'll cover atoms, bonding, water properties, macromolecules, and how these tie into ecology and the body systems like digestion and circulation. Let's get started. Imagine you're a detective trying to find out what makes things alive. All living things from tiny bacteria to giant whales share 7 key differences. They're organized, respond to their environment, use energy, grow, develop, reproduce, and evolve over time. Think of the levels of organization like Russian nesting dolls. These living things are built from smaller and smaller pieces. First, it starts off with atoms, then molecules, then cells, then tissues, then organs, and finally, whole organisms. At the atomic level, life depends on chemical bonds. Strong covalent bonds hold atoms together, while ionic bonds transfer electrons, and weak hydraulic bonds, though small, are essential for the shape of DNA and water's special properties. In a covalent bond, atoms share electrons to form a stable molecule. For example, in water, aka H2O, hydrogen and oxygen share electrons. In an ionic bond, one atom transfers electrons to another, creating oppositely charged ions that attract. For example, sodium gives an electron to chlorine and salt, NaCl. A hydrogen bond is a weak attraction between molecules, often involving hydrogen. For example, water molecules stick together through hydrogen bonds. Speaking of water, it's the life MVP. Thanks to its polar nature, it sticks to itself called cohesion, climbs up plant stems, adhesion, and keeps temperature stable and makes an excellent solvent. Water even helps build and break molecules. Condensation reacts to join monomers by removing water, while hydrolysis splits them by adding it. This then leads us to our 4 big biological molecules. First up, we have carbohydrates. These guys are your body's go-to for quick energy. They're made for carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen in a 1:2 ratio. That's why glucose and starches fall into this category. It's found in foods like bread, pasta, and fruit, and carbs to fuel your cells fast. It's important to know for carbohydrates that their monomers are monosaccharides, meaning one sugar. For quick energy, you have glucose, fructose, and galactose. Meanwhile, for 2 sugars, it's called disaccharide. To get this, you have glucose plus glucose, which is equal to maltose. Then you have glucose plus fructose, which is equal to sucrose. And finally, glucose plus galactose, which is equal to lactose. Finally, you have polysaccharides, which are many sugars. This breaks down into 2 categories, which is for animals and plants. For animals, you have glycogen, which is to store energy. But for plants, you have starch and cellulose. Starch is to store energy, while cellulose is a fiber, which is for support and strength in a plant. Both are single chains. Next, we have lipids. They are like fats and oils. They store long-term energy and help build up cell membranes. First up are saturated fats. These fats have no double bonds between their carbon atoms. That means every carbon is saturated with hydrogen atoms. Because their chains are straight, they pack tightly together and are usually solid at room temperature. Think butter and baking grease. A quick way I remember it is saturated is equal to solid. They taste great, but they're terrible for your heart. To point out saturated, they have no double bonds, meaning they are stiff and unhealthy. Next, we've got unsaturated fats. These have one double bond in the fatty acid chain. That double bond creates a kink, which makes the molecules less packed and more flexible. That's why unsaturated fats are usually liquid at room temperature, kind of like olive oil. Just remember, unsaturated is equal to 1 better, which equals to healthier. Now for the final and super flexible kind, polyunsaturated fats. Poly means many, and these fats have more than one double bond, so more bends in the chain. They're also liquid, so you'll find them in foods like sunflower oil, fish, and nuts. A bonus is that they're considered the healthiest fats for your heart. A memory trick that I use is poly is equal to many bends, which is equal to extra health. So think the more bends it has, the more healthy it is. DNA uses 4 bases, A, T, C, and G, with A pairing to T and C pairing to G via hydrogen bonds. RNA swaps T for U and helps build proteins. These molecules, made from just a few functional groups like hydroxyls and phosphates, are shared across all species, proving just how connected all of life is. Now, let's finally connect the foundational biochemistry and characteristics of life to these body systems and ecology concepts. Life starts at a molecular level, with water, macromolecules, and cells, and builds up to the entire ecosystem. Those 7 characteristics of life, organization, energy use, growth, etc., drive everything from how a cell makes energy to how a lion hunts a zebra. Take energy, for example. We get it from carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins that we digest, absorb, and circulate through the digestive and circulatory system. The respiratory system supplies oxygen to cells for cellular respiration, creating ATP to power every process in the body. This is metabolism in action, built on macromolecules and water chemistry. But zoom out, and life connects in ecosystems. Every organism, from a single bacterium to a whale, fits into ecological levels. Organisms, populations, communities, ecosystems, and biosphere. In a food web, producers make glucose using photosynthesis and energy flows through trophic levels, but only 10% moves on. That's because it's cellular respiration, where energy is lost at heat, just like we saw at the molecular level. Water and carbon cycles move matter through the biosphere, just like the digestive and respiratory systems cycle nutrients and gases through our bodies. And just like cells need membranes to control what enters and exits, ecosystems need balance between predators and prey, between abiotic and biotic factors to be sustainable. So from atoms to ecosystems, it all comes down to the structure, energy, and chemistry. Life is connected from your cells to the whole planet.